Gallup takes a close look at commuting and stress. We have some new data on Americans and their commuting experience. This is quite interesting stuff. We just asked Americans who are employed how they got to work. 85% of Americans say they drive themselves. So despite all the talk about mass transit and riding bicycles and perhaps walking to work, etc., most of us who work get to work the old-fashioned way, at least relatively old-fashioned, and that is drive ourselves to work. How long is the average commute? That's the key question. The answer, 48 minutes both ways. That's the total time going to and from work. Americans who work report to us. Divide that in two. That means the average American spends 24 minutes going to work and 24 minutes coming back from work. In fact, it's only about a third of Americans who tell us that they take an hour or more out of their day to and from work in terms of commuting. We looked to see what differences we could find in this commuting time. Sure enough, people who make more money have a longer commute than those who work and make less money, but the differences aren't huge. Region of the country? Well, the only place we found a difference is in the Midwest, where the average commute time is lower than it is in the other three areas of the country. There's been a lot of talk about the stressfulness of commuting. Are we losing years off our lives because we sit there behind the wheel in stop-and-go traffic, fuming, fretting, getting mad, having to slam on the brakes, and what have you? Well, let's look at the numbers. Only about a quarter of Americans who work say that their commute is stressful. Not as high as one might have imagined. Let's split that out by length of commute. Sure enough, you see the data in front of you of Americans whose total commute time is an hour or more every day. About a third say that it's stressful, but even for these relatively lengthy commutes, we don't find as high a level of stress as we might have imagined. I think the bottom line out of all of this is the magic number 24. 24 minutes to work, 24 minutes back from work. If your commute is longer than that, you are above average. Join us again next time here on the Daily Briefing. We'll look at some fascinating new data about inheritances. Are Americans looking forward to getting rich when somebody they know dies? I'm Dr. Frank Newport, Editor-in-Chief of the Gallup poll with Democracy on Demand.